Hello, I'm Antonio Mora. This is the newsandnews.com Day in Brief on Thursday, March 7th at about 6:30 p.m. After much infighting among Democrats, the House overwhelmingly passed a resolution this afternoon to condemn bigotry. It was initially meant to focus on anti-Semitism as a rebuke to freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitic statements. But progressive Democrats insisted on a broader resolution that condemned Islamophobia and white supremacy. Omar voted for it, as did all but 23 Republican representatives. The debate exposed the fault lines not only between progressive and centrist Democrats, but also between the new generation of the party and its more established members. At one point, under attack from freshman representatives, Speaker Pelosi reportedly left a closed-door caucus meeting. And the divisions go much further than this resolution, to include the Green New Deal, Medicare for All, and Trump's possible impeachment. The sentencing hearing in Virginia for former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort continues at this hour. He was found guilty last summer of tax fraud, bank fraud, and hiding foreign bank accounts. The charges were brought by special counsel Robert Mueller's prosecutors, but as the judge in the case noted today, none of the charges had anything to do with Russian collusion. Manafort also faces sentencing in D.C. next week in a case where he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and witness tampering. He later was found to have breached his plea bargain by lying to investigators. Trump's longtime personal attorney's truthfulness is again being questioned. Last week, the focus was on whether Michael Cohen misrepresented his interest in working at the White House. Now it's about whether he wanted a pardon. Cohen testified that he had, quote, never asked for nor would I accept a pardon from Mr. Trump. But his lawyers admit Cohen did direct, quote, his attorney to explore possibilities of a pardon at one point with Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, as well as other lawyers advising President Trump. In a tweet today, Giuliani demanded that the chair of the House Oversight Committee, Elijah Cummings, follow through on his threats to punish Cohen if he perjured himself again. Giuliani claimed there are now, quote, at least 3 perjuries: never asked for pardon, never sought a government job, and represented foreign entities. Cummings responded saying he will look into whether Cohen again committed perjury and that he stands by his statement that he will nail Cohen to the cross if he did. The Associated Press reports that border agents have been told to explicitly target Spanish speakers and migrants from Latin America in carrying out a Trump administration program requiring asylum seekers wait in Mexico. It's a response to the growing number of Central Americans arriving at the border. The ACLU is already comparing the criteria to the, quote, concerns we had in the Muslim ban. The Air Force says it is appalled and deeply sorry after Senator Martha McSally revealed she was raped by a superior officer while she was on active duty. She says she stayed silent for years, but was then horrified by how her attempt to share her experience was handled. The Air Force now says it stands behind McSally and all victims, and that it is committed to eliminating reprehensible behavior and breach of trust. Despite the spotlight placed on the crisis of sexual assault in the military over the past few years, surveys show it's getting worse, with approximately 10% increases in sexual assaults in each of the past 2 years. Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio surprised almost everyone today when he announced he was not running for president. Just 2 days ago, he said he could win the presidency, and he had just finished a 4-state tour that took him to Iowa and New Hampshire, among others. The European Central Bank has become the first major Western bank to start easing its policies after slashing its growth forecast for 2019. It announced a new stimulus program that will offer more cheap loans to banks and keep interest rates at record lows for longer than planned. That fueled fears on Wall Street that the global economy is slowing. The Dow dropped 200 points and the Nasdaq was down more than 1%. Doctors Without Borders is warning that the Ebola crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo is being hampered by violence. Security forces have tried to force people to comply with health measures while reportedly ignoring their concerns. That's led to attacks on responders, including 2 treatment centers run by the group that were set on fire, forcing them to shut down. More than 900 Ebola cases have been confirmed and at least 569 people have died. While there's always the threat that the deadly disease could spread widely as it did in West Africa a few years ago, the hope is that a vaccine will help control the epidemic this time. 80,000 people have been vaccinated. In our alternate universes segment, The Great Divide Between Conservative and Liberal Media, the Washington Post's top fact-checker appeared on CNN this morning to discuss how the Post has found that Trump has accelerated his pace of making false and misleading statements, and that he has now made more than 9,100 since he became president. A scary number, but it was also scary to see the supposed objective journalist forget objectivity and the fact-checker get his facts wrong. The anchor claimed Trump's CPAC speech was a tour de force of falsehoods, which is probably true, but it is still an opinion few anchors of the pre-Trump era would ever have uttered. Then, the fact-checker talked about Trump using statistics to mislead. As an example, he said that when Trump cites, quote, the number of jobs created under his administration, he counts from the date of the election, not the date he took office. So that adds 4 months of jobs that took place under Barack Obama. By doing that, Trump is certainly misleading the public. But you may have already noticed the problem. There weren't 4 months between the 2016 election on November 10th and the inauguration on January 20th. In fact, it was less than 2.5 months. So the fact-checker got his facts wrong and was misleading himself. Makes it hard to trust anyone these days, doesn't it? Longtime Jeopardy host Alex Trebek has seen an outpouring of support from regular Americans and celebrities after he revealed that he is battling stage 4 pancreatic cancer. An optimistic Trebek said he intends to keep working, finish the season, and beat the cancer. Patients diagnosed at stage 4 live an average of 12 to 15 months, and about 91% of pancreatic cancer patients die within 5 years of their diagnosis. LeBron James has always said that he idolized Michael Jordan and that he wanted to be like Mike from the first day he picked up a basketball. Yesterday, playing with shoes that said, "Thank you, MJ," he surpassed his hero's career point total, moving into 4th on the all-time list. Jordan sent his congratulations. Overwhelmed with emotion, a tearful LeBron thanked Jordan for inspiring him and said he hopes he can do the same for other inner-city kids. We have all the stories and much more updated around the clock 7 days a week on newsandnews.com, where you will find all you need to know in one place. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the right of your screen just below this video. Please follow us on Facebook at Real News and News, and follow me on Twitter at AMoraTV. I'll see you again tomorrow.